Herkese merhaba. İlginç bir videoyla karşınızdayım. Ancak bu kısım sadece bir ön uyarı kısmı diyebilirim. İsterseniz burayı hızlıca skipleyebilirsiniz ama skiplememenizde fayda var. Şimdi bu videoda kanal için aslında yaptığım ilk böyle yeni değişik şeyle karşılaşacaksınız. Bir röportaj var ve doğal olarak bu röportajımız İngilizce. Ancak ben buna altyazı demeyelim de hani subtitle değil de side title tarzında bir şey ayarladım. Çünkü e, röportajı Zoom'da yaptık ve Zoom'da işte benim suratımı sol üstte, e, katılımcılardan birinin suratını sağ üstte ve diğer katılımcıyı da aşağı tam ortaya aldı ve aşağıdaki katılımcının suratını kapatacak bir şekilde altyazı koymak istemedim ve yanında boşluklar vardı. Bunu değerlendireyim dedim. Bununla ilgili ufak tefek bir şeyler söyleyeceğim. Ardından hemen videoya geçeceğiz. Öncelikle ilk defa Zoom kullandığım için ve muhtemelen Zoom'un ayarlarını yeteri kadar kurcalamadığım için, daha doğrusu Windows'un yeni bir ses programıyla etkileşimini çok fazla kurcalamış olduğum için OBS'te bir sıkıntı yoktu. Ancak konuşmaya başladığımız an, daha doğrusu kayda başladığımız andan itibaren benim mikrofonda garip bir sıkıntı oldu. Biraz böyle gain arttırarak oraları kurtarmaya çalıştım ama ses dengesini tam oturtamadım. O yüzden bazı yerlerde benim sesim kısık veya böyle ani böyle patlayan böyle işte I will say falan diye böyle bir anda patlayan sesler olabilir. Şimdiden kusura bakmayın ama diğer katılımcıların sesi benimkine nispeten daha anlaşılır bir tonda. Onu söyleyeyim, daha stabil ve anlaşılabilir bir seviyede. Bunun dışında çeviriyi mümkün olduğunca aslında onların söylediklerini toparlayacak şekilde yapmaya çalıştım. %100 bir böyle hani kelime kelime çeviri şeklinde yapmadım. Bunun dışında bir yerde isim sayıyorlar. İsimlere yetişemediğim için tam böyle çıkaramadım çünkü birazcık aksan içerisinde de bazı kelimeler, bazı isimler kayboluyor. O alana bir şey yazmadım. Ancak oradaki isimler aslında Cthulhu by Gaslight Investigators Guide'ın künyesinde yazan yazar kadrosu. Yani çok böyle kafa karıştıracak bir mevzu yok aslında. Sadece bu işte çalışan arkadaşlarına bir şey yapıyorlar. Hani onların da isimlerini anıyorlar. Bunun dışında bazı terimleri oyun terimi olarak bıraktım. Bazı yerlerde de daha düzgün çeviri yapmaya çalıştım. Mesela hani küçük bir örnek olacak. Mesela Occult test olarak bıraktım Occult testi ama okült organizasyonlar diye çevirdim bazı yerlerde. Böyle bir şey yaptım. Bunun dışında bazı şeylerin içerisinin yanına parantez içinde esas isimlerini de yazdım. Mesela Regency Cthulhu'dan bahsettiğimiz zaman reputation diye bir sistem var. İtibar. Şimdi bunu böyle özel olarak belirttim orada. Ya da mesela weird science'dan bahsedildiği zaman ona ben tekinsiz bilim dedim. Çünkü garip bilim deyince biraz ne bileyim ucubik geldi bana. O şekilde bir şeyler yaptım. Yani mümkün olduğunca anlatılmak isteyeni genel anlamı korumaya çalıştım. Sürçü lisan ettiysek affola. Umarım beğeneceğiniz güzel bir video olur. Bizim için bu bir başlangıç diyebilirim. Yani kanalın ilk röportaj videosu. Umuyorum ki tek röportaj videosu da olmaz. Daha fazlasının da gelmesini istiyorum. Bilgilendirici bir yayın oldu. Daha sonra kayıt oldu. Yani sadece kitabın içinde ne var muhabbeti ya da ne gelecek muhabbeti yok. Bu arada bazı spoilerlar var. Bunu da altını çizelim. Ee, Cthulhu Mythos konseptiyle okültizm konseptinin birbiriyle olan ilişkisine yönelik olarak ya da işte benim mesela çok kıl olduğum bir mevzudur bu Malleus Monstrorum'da Cthulhu, Azatot gibi varlıkların e, numerik değerlere sahip olması gibi konuları da konuştuk. Zaten gerekli bütün linkler aşağıda açıklamada bulunuyor. Aynı şekilde vakit damgasından da sorudan soruya atlayabilirsiniz. Şimdilik diyeceklerim bu kadar. Öyleyse videomuzu izleyelim. Hello everyone. Today I have an interesting video for you. with this video, we will start a new concept. And with this concept, I will try to reach out important people for the industry and try to interview with them. And today's topic is this beautiful book, Cthulhu by Gaslight, Investigator's Guide. And I have two lovely people with me here, Keris McDonald and Mike Mason. Welcome to our channel, and thank you for accepting the interview.
It's nice to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
And I actually have information about you, but probably my audience and most of my audience don't know about you. So could you introduce yourselves a little?
Sure. Keris, do you want to kick off?
I thought it'd be better if you kicked off because you're the head honcho.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Mike Mason. I'm the creative director for the Call of Cthulhu tabletop RPG at Chaosium. So that means I look after the Call of Cthulhu line and kind of I'm the commissioning editor, occasionally art director, writer, and so forth. And so I kind of get involved in every book that we do for Call of Cthulhu. That's me. And joining me is...
Hi, I'm Keris McDonald. I am an associate editor for Call of Cthulhu, so I work for Mike. And my main line that I've been doing has been the new edition of Cthulhu by Gaslight. So I've been the main editor for that line. But I also do all sorts of other bits and pieces as well, as Mike can see.
That kind of in-house Cthulhu by Gaslight specialist, basically. So all the Gaslight books, Keris kind of looks after.
Yeah, and I also saw that there are some sort of novel kind of publications. Is that correct?
Novel?
For Keris?
Oh, Keris is also a writer in her own...
I'm sorry?
You also write fiction, Keris, don't you?
Yes, I also write some fiction. I've written some horror and other genre fiction. And
I do too, and do a podcast as well for fiction as well. So we're all very similar. We play lots of games, we write fiction, we write games and edit them, and it's all good fun.
Beautiful. I would like to start with a general question. I'm actually thinking about asking this question everyone for the future records as well. What do you know about the communities in Turkey, or do you know anything about our communities?
I have to be honest. I don't know a great deal about the Turkish gaming community. I've not been to any game conventions in Turkey. That's normally the way how I kind of learn about different communities. I've been to France and Germany, America, England, and so forth, and kind of been to conventions there. But I have to be, hands on heart. I don't really know about the Turkish scene, so I'm very keen to hear about it. I don't know if you've got a better insight than I have, Keris.
No, I've visited Turkey a couple of times. I've very much enjoyed the time I have spent there, and I think Istanbul's a beautiful city, and it was so great to see all the bits that are there in Horror on the Orient Express, and to see it come to life in the flesh. But I don't know about the gaming community, so tell us about it.
Actually, for the industry part, we don't have much to say because we don't have a real industry here. Like, there are a couple of groups that are gathered up as a company, and they publish books for out of the country. So inside the country, we don't have any kind of industry, but we have events, communities, and university groups and university events and stuff like that. And besides, obviously, Dungeons and Dragons, one of the most played games is Call of Cthulhu here.
Excellent.
Good to know. Thank you.
So here is the first question about the Cthulhu by Gaslight. I mean, this is some sort of question about eras, because I'd like to understand it a way better, and I believe that my audience will also think about it. So some time ago, we had the Regency Cthulhu, and now we have this Cthulhu by Gaslight. And I know that Regency Cthulhu only Regency era only takes in place in a couple of decades, and right after that, Cthulhu, the Gaslight era starts. But can you tell me the significant difference between these two eras? Because it doesn't look like lots of stuff change. More likely some political things change.
Do you want to talk about industrialization and things like that, Keris?
Wind me up and watch me go. Yeah, no. The Victorian era is an incredible era of change. It is. Honestly, it is the era in which the sort of modern world began. Everything changes at this point. We go from basically sort of horses and carts right at the start of the 19th century. Your main way of travelling across the country would be by stagecoach, and then the steam engine's invented. We got all the layout of the railway lines, which completely changes the whole way that the country's economy moves. And then by the end of the 19th century, you've not just got petrol-powered cars on the streets, you've got things like electric taxi cabs are running around the streets of London as well. So it's been a vast change in the technology, everything about chemistry, about physics. X-rays are invented. They start to look at almost the structure of the atom, the way that society is ordered changes. Women start to really move into getting sort of equal rights. You get workers organising. Communism is invented in the Victorian era, and you start to see the whole order that was sort of very absolutely pervasive in the Regency era, where the upper classes and the landed gentry and the people who'd held on for power through centuries, and slowly their grip on power starts to crumble during the Victorian era, as you've got the rise of the middle classes and all the industrialists and the people who manufacture things, and there's a whole sweep out of education from just the very top tiers of society right the way through, so that you've got working people can start to be able to read and write. So everything changes in this period. It's just, this is how the modern world is made. So this is why I get very excited about the Victorian period. And then you've got Cthulhu and all the tentacles and monsters on top of that.
Actually, this question also involves the mechanical stuff, game-wise stuff as well. What would you say about that?
I mean, ultimately, there isn't huge differences in terms of the game mechanics between different Call of Cthulhu settings. They all use the standard Call of Cthulhu 7th edition rules, which are based on the BRP rules that Chaosium uses for many of its games, where you use percentage dice rather than a D20. There are some little tweaks. Reputation is very important in the Regency era, and so the reputation rules are a little bit more deeper, a little bit more complex in the Regency era. But for the Victorian era, where reputation still is important, it's not quite the same foundation as it is in Regency. So the reputation rules are actually slimmer. They're less deep than they are in Regency, as in it is, and they are optional as well. Whereas in Regency, the reputation rules aren't an option. You have to kind of play with them to really get the most of the setting. In the Gaslight Victorian setting, the reputation is an optional rule. So your group may not use it at all, or you may want to use it, but it's not, because it's not as integral to the setting as it is in Gaslight. So that's really the biggest change, other than just things like obviously character generation uses the same system, but often there are different kind of occupations and professions that kind of are created in the Victorian era that didn't exist in the Regency, or and so you get a wider breadth of kind of choice as a player in the Gaslight setting in that way. So you can play working class, middle class, or upper class kind of people, whereas in Regency it tends to be probably upper class or lower class, and there's not really a middle class in the same way. So there's lots of permutations, but ultimately, that's if you were playing Regency, you would find it very easy to play Gaslight, and vice versa. Or if you've never played either and you've only played kind of modern day or 1920s Call of Cthulhu, you would find the system the same as what you would find it very easy to pick up and just start playing, because it's the same system.
Basic role playing makes everything quite fluid, I can say.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm planning to run a game in an event this month by using basic role playing, but my concept will be something like from time to time the game will shift into something whole different. Like one part of the game they will play as cyberpunk characters, and then something will happen. They'll shift into some sort of modern horror, and something will change, and they will find themselves in fantasy. And I can use the whole system in the base, and everything will be fine. So
that's right, yeah, because you can play past, present, and future with BRP. They all flows together, so it makes it very easy on the players. They don't have to keep learning new things. They can just actually focus on the gameplay, playing their characters and enjoying themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So here is my other question, and I really would like to learn your opinions about it. We have the Gaslight era, and there's a bridge, and then the Lovecraftian era, 1920s start, and the bridge is the Great War. What do you think about it?
I would really like for us to do a supplement at some point in the future that covers that era. I think it's just a fascinating era. Obviously, it is dominated by the war, which will be interesting to run events in. I mean, there certainly have been World War I scenarios, which have worked quite well. I think there's a lot of potential there, but it's all how far down the line can we look?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an area that we have done some material on, that kind of early 1900s into the First World War. But as Carrie says, it's an area that we would like to do more, but we are quite a small team of people, and there's only so much things we can do at one time. So it's something we want to do. And in fact, we do have a book that is in development. It's not ready yet. It's going to be a while, but we have a kind of a bit of a campaign set during World War One. But actually, that's just a start. It actually goes quickly from the kind of the trenches of France and Belgium into other realms, let me put it like that, where people kind of maybe, go find themselves in very unexpected places, is all I can really say. But we have some stuff there that we're going to look to develop and work on down the line. But yes, I think that kind of some sort of supplement that kind of bridges Gaslight into, as you say, the kind of the Lovecraftian 1920s or the Roaring 20s. I think that could be quite good. I think that could, really kind of help to kind of bridge those fairly different settings.
Okay, it's kind of interesting news. I mean, I have Reign of Terror, and I think that it's a magnificent add-on to Orient Express. And I don't know if my players would like to play. I mean, about this upcoming group, but it's a quite interesting mini campaign, and that would be nice to see another thing like that too.
Yeah, and certainly there's always lots going on, and there's always lots going on when you add Cthulhu to it. I'm sure we could come up with some very fun adventures, campaigns, and scenarios for that kind of 1900 period, as it were. That would be very cool. I just got visions of people on boats with straw boater hats on, and pinstripe jackets, and ladies in flowing dresses and parasols. I've got that vision of the it's all the start from Oh What a Lovely War. That's what's in my head. But but yes, I think it'd be quite good. I would enjoy that very much, because that's a period of history that I'm very interested in. I've always been very interested in.
All right. So here's another question, and that actually something that I like the most in the Gaslight book. I'm talking about the chapter about occultism and mystical stuff. So it was a beautiful thing to see the Golden Dawn and also Aleister Crowley and Blavatsky in the book with descriptions and stuff. And that provoked me to ask this question. What do you think about the connection between occultism and Cthulhu Mythos? Or what do you think about the thin line between these two separate concepts?
I'm sorry, you faded out slightly.
Yeah, we got the I heard about the occult bit. What was the second bit that you said? Was that the mythos, or?
Yeah,
right.
Occultism and Cthulhu Mythos.
Right, okay. That's what I thought you said, but I didn't actually hear it, so I didn't want to... That's okay.
If you want, I can ask that again. What do you think about the connection between occultism and Cthulhu Mythos, or the thin line between these separate concepts?
Well, I've got a view, but I'm going to let Keris go first, because Keris did a lot of work on this particular chapter. So I think it would be good to hear what you've got to say, Keris, on this one.
Right. Okay. So the thing about sort of, I'm going to say, real world occultism is it is a vast and really technical subject. And although really interesting, if you are into it, it doesn't make great gameplay. And that's becomes obvious. When we were writing the Keeper's Guide, which is coming up, we go much more into detail about the Golden Dawn and stuff. And one of the things we do is give an outline of, say, the initiation rite. And we specifically say, don't run this. It's probably not a good idea to run this, just because it's so complex and you've got to know what all the symbolism means, and it's not sort of very intuitive. So occultism, fascinating though it is, we sort of set it aside almost, and then we say, yes, it exists. Yes, it can achieve certain effects, and we do sort of folk magic and stuff like that. And it would be possible to be able, and we do when we're as you'll find out when you get the Keeper's Guide, the Golden Dawn absolutely can do magic of its own with new rules and new spells, but it's sort of separate from the mythos stuff because it would just be too, you don't want to mesh them together. I think that would be unplayable and probably unwritable. I mean, nobody's really been able to sort of synthesize the whole of Western occultism. properly anyway. I mean, plenty of people tried, but they can't. So I'm talking too much, aren't I? Shall I? Right, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I just to kind of restate, I think what Keris has said as well, is we have in the game, there's the true magic of the cosmos is what you call Cthulhu Mythos magic. That draws on the power of the cosmos, however you want to describe that. That's whether that's drawing from the energies of the elder and outer gods, or the very fabric of time and space. That's powerful stuff, and that's why monsters and gods in the Cthulhu mythos can cast spells and do amazing things. But when humans try to do those things, they can do them, but it corrupts and it changes them, and it's bad news. You know, they lose sanity points and they can lose power, and it can affect them severely. Because it's like touching a live electrical cable. It's too much energy for a human to hold. And that's why there's a downside to it. So over time, over the kind of the span of humanity on the planet Earth, the few humans who were able to kind of cast and use this cosmic magic have kind of found ways to kind of lessen it and decrease its power to make it more usable, so it doesn't kill them all the time by using it. And that's what we call in the game folk magic. And that's kind of like human-based magic. But the secret to this is it is human-based magic, but actually its origin is mythos magic. And it's been watered down over thousands of years to be this small, once with a big spell, now is a really small spell that does one thing that a human can do. And that's how they kind of link together. But obviously, there's lots of we could go talk about how this is a massive subject. If you also allow for the fact that different mythos gods, do things in a different way, and that affects how their followers and cultists interpret and do things. So, for instance, if a cultist is drawing their magical knowledge from Cthulhu, it would be different potentially to a Hastur cultist doing it. They may kind of do the same kind of spells, but the effects are kind of different on the people and how they interpret them. And so that kind of colors how magic is interpreted as well. And you kind of water that down into the Golden Dawn. They have spells, they're folk magic that can do things, and that are magic, but they're just but they're kind of one tangent of what the greater kind of sphere of magical knowledge could be. It's humans trying to they're viewing the cosmos through a little hole, and that's all they can see. They don't see the big picture. If that helps in any way to explain it, it probably doesn't. But
yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, in the games, mostly, especially new players, kind of confused with these two concepts, like when to use an occult test, when to use a Cthulhu Mythos test. Can I explain this with Cthulhu Mythos? Can I explain this with occult?
Sure. It's really easy, the answer. If it's a human-based belief system or magical practice, then you would use occult. If it's a mythos-based information, secret knowledge, the true realities of the cosmos to do with mythos monsters, then you would make a Cthulhu Mythos roll. So occult is only about human-based beliefs in terms of things like, the Golden Dawn, teachings of Aleister Crowley, or whatever it may be. They're humans who came up with this. They may be inspired by the mythos, but they're channeling it through their understanding of the world. And so it's human-based. That's an occult role. Anything that's not human is a mythos role because it's beyond humanity.
But it might complicate some things. Like, for example, in our lands, there's a belief of jinns, for example. But how do you explain that? Are they just
that'd be an occult role,
supernatural?
because that's a human belief. That's an occult role. Yeah, the Migo come down. They don't know about the jinns. They're not interested. That's a completely separate thing. They're alien to that environment. So jinns are a human construct in that sense. You know, humans are aware of them. Humans have written about them, and the occult role is about what the occult role essentially is what do you know about this phenomena? And the phenomena in this case might be jinns. So therefore, if you're making a successful occult role, it means you've read about them, or you've been told about them, or you maybe have experienced something that was like, you know, that kind of gave you some information about them. I mean, that's ultimately what it is. It doesn't confirm that they exist or that they're real or not real. It just tells you what you know about them.
Okay, so we can say that Cthulhu Mythos is more like the having experience and comprehending what you witnessed.
Sure, it's kind of understanding it in the greater world of the cosmos, in terms of the understanding that there are alien beings, and how does this connect to them? Yeah.
All right. Thank you for this great answer. So
You're welcome.
I have some sort of light question, something like, is there any plan about writing a Gaslight campaign?
Yes, and Keris is going to tease you with some information about it, I imagine.
Am I allowed to give the title?
Yes.
Right, so we do have a Gaslight campaign coming up. It's in the pipeline. It's been written. It's been through the first round of edits. It has to go back for many more adjustments. It's called Curse of Seven.
Ooh.
It is a really beautiful campaign. I think people are going to love it. It is set in places across the British Isles. It is based on the sort of classic ghost story writers and weird writers that were writing in Britain in the Victorian and Edwardian period. So people like Arthur Machen, the M.R. James, E.F. Benson, and I think William Hope Hodgson. So they've all got different scenarios that sort of encapsulate or reach out to things that have been written by these great authors. So, and we've got a whole bunch of, I can't remember the names, I'm terrible with names, but certainly Penny Love wrote one of the
So yeah, Penelope Love, Alan Bly, and I've now blanked as well. But all this will come out in due course. We're only giving you a teaser, so I think there's about 6 or 7 scenarios that kind of form the campaign, and it's great. We play tested it, and it's been a lot of fun to play in it, and it really highlights some of the really cool things about the Gaslight setting as well, and I think people are going to really like it. And of course, it's the first ever Gaslight campaign, because we have never done one before, and this is the first one. So it's very exciting to see this coming out. Hopefully, in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I can. I mean, you can probably see, but I have a lot of goosebumps here, and actually, that would be nice to see some different kind of things, and I believe that it will take. I mean, it will get lots of attention. I mean, there's some sort of situation with the campaign books, like Mass of Nyarlathotep and Orient Express generally steal the whole spotlight from the other campaigns. So I hope it will change the situation for Gaslight?
Yeah. Well, we're very excited by it, and still a little bit of work to do. Oh, I found the authors just to double check. So yeah, Oscar Rios, Mark Morrison, Jeff Gillen, Phil Anderson, Alan Bly, Glyn White, but it was all kind of pulled together. The project manager and one of the writers was Penelope Love, and obviously both Keris and I have kind of developed the material and edited it and added in a few little extras here and there. So it's a real kind of collaboration to make it something awesome. So yeah, that's coming in. But that's, we've got other Gaslight stuff coming as well, without kind of getting into a lot of detail, but there's more scenarios and keeper aids, play aids, that kind of thing. So it's not just going to be the player book and then the keeper book that's coming out in the new year. We've got a whole kind of range of books that will follow on for people to kind of play, Call of Cthulhu by Gaslight.
Oh, that's beautiful. So, you talked about the Keeper's Guide. So, what kind of stuff are waiting for us to see in the book? Can you give any surface information?
Sure. Keris, is there anything you want to highlight, or?
So we've got a lot of stuff on the Golden Dawn and how you can use them in your campaign as villains or as an investigator, sort of help.
Actually, I have interesting stuff about this. I mean, not the Golden Dawn, but currently I'm also running a Nyarlathotep campaign, and my players are currently in London. And when they were doing some research about occult stuff, they reached the information of Aleister Crowley, and they were looking for some information about him. They met some sort of weird occultist person who is also a member of the Blue Pyramid Club. So if they still keep themselves in London, I would like to add more stuff about Golden Dawn and the occult community around them to expand the concept. That would be
I mean, certainly the material about the Golden Dawn in the Keeper Guide to Cthulhu by Gaslight is exactly what you're after then, because it really does build on it just presents the Golden Dawn as, what it is, what their beliefs are, how player characters, our investigators can be members, how they can go through the ranks, what magic they can learn, what secrets they can learn, and how that kind of applies in the Cthulhu world. So say again?
Astral travel.
Oh, yeah, well, I was going to, okay. And there might be something about astral travel in there as well. But that's just one chapter in the Keeper book. I mean, and it's a good big chapter, but it's full of really good stuff that will work not only in the Gaslight setting, but in theory, although the Golden Dawn ends, not too long after the Gaslight era ends as well, you can take that information and model it into a different occult organization that you might want to run in the the early 1920s or beyond. All the information there you can reuse in any kind of setting for Call of Cthulhu to some degree. So it's all really good stuff. And then there's the situational rules when you're running a Gaslight game as a keeper, things like about how about modifications to the chase rules. If you're running like a carriage chase, there's scenario seeds and how to put scenarios together in campaigns. There's a whole bunch of
folk horror.
Yeah,
is really fits well into Gaslight. So just drilling down into sort of history and how that can affect your scenarios it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we've got 2 scenarios in the Keeper book.
Yeah, two really good scenarios, and then there's the whole Cthulhu Mythos in Gaslight as well. There's a whole chapter about, you know, what's going on with the serpent people and the Migo and all these other things. And, you know, and so you've got all these kind of, you know, game secrets for the keeper to use to help them create their own scenarios or to throw into scenarios they're running that, you know, we publish or whatever. So there's lots of things like that, as well as, you know, things about, you know, what if you get captured by the police? Well, you know, what happens then? That kind of thing. So all these kind of stuff is there, and lots of interesting Victorian people and monsters you might meet in a game. And so, you know, you might run into Mr. Jekyll, or it might be Mr. Hyde, depending on the time of the night, or Dracula, or whoever, you know. So all these kind of like interesting kind of characters come out of Victorian fiction. You know, we try to kind of throw those into the mix as well to give you a big toolkit of things to use in your games. You know, if you want to play a kind of a vampire kind of type game, then the information's there to do it. If you want to run, you know, something more about, you know, Occult and the Golden Dawn, well, the information's there as well. So it really...
Or weird science, that's the other thing. That's another angle you can take on the Gaslight stuff, because there's so much new science, and some of it's really strange and really off the wall. And the Victorians were just trying anything. So that's another angle that you absolutely can take in your campaign, in your campaigns and scenarios.
They are both the investigator book and the keeper book are packed with information. They are, you know, big books that will give you lots of content to play with for, you know, for quite a long time, to be honest. And if you're a player, the player book is player facing. It gives you everything you need to know how to play the game, how to create characters, how to understand the setting, how to, you know, develop your character going on. And the keeper book gives the keeper all the kind of secrets and extra rules and scenarios to kind of, you know, bring it all together, basically. So they work very well together, but it means that everyone's got, you know, a book for them that allows them to kind of, you know, get the most out of the game.
Wow, lots of stuff are waiting for us. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have one last question, and our time is getting short. So my last question is about something that tickles me for a long time. So I wanted to ask this question to someone, and this is the most perfect time, I believe. You know that we have a 2-book set called Malleus Monstrorumda, and in one part of it we have lots of interesting different Cthulhu monsters, and in the other one we have I mean, I don't like to call them gods, but we have Cthulhu entities.
Yeah.
And I always thought that keeping this kind of unreachable entities should not have any kind of numerical values. But this book has some numerical stuff for Cthulhu, Azathoth, and other creatures and stuff. May I ask why?
Okay, well, if you look at the previous version of the Malleus Monstrum and earlier editions of Call of Cthulhu, they all had full numbers across the board for each of those godlike beings. In fact, in the new edition of the Malleus Monstrum, in the Gods book, I've actually stripped that back and actually had less numbers in there. And if you look at the information, what it says is this is if you want to put the entity in the game in a sense that it's there in front of the players, then your players are likely to interact with it in some way. As in, what if they fire rockets into it? What happens? Yeah. So we have to provide some context with the numbers for that kind of style of gameplay, because some groups will want to have Cthulhu in a combat situation almost. Some groups may want to do that, especially if you're playing Pulp Cthulhu. You can do that. Other groups don't want to do that, and a bit like yourself, they prefer the entities to be kind of, you know, have no numbers, have no profiles and that. And that's fine. Well, don't use them. You know, in every write-up, so Cthulhu and Azathoth in the Malleus Monstrorum'da, they're like, I don't know, 3-4 pages long descriptions about the entity, what they do, how they interact with humanity, their cult, and all that kind of thing. And then the stats, the numbers is one small box, a quarter page. Yeah, it's tiny compared to all the other information about that entity. So you can choose to use it, or you can choose to ignore it because it's a minor part. But it does allow you, even if you never use it in game, to kind of contextualize them that Cthulhu is this size compared to a human or this or another entity or whatever it may be, and what its spell capacity is in terms of, you know, what can it do in that way. So we provide those kind of guidelines because some people want them, but as I say, I actually strip them right back, and you'll note it that all of those write-ups say like a typical manifestation, not this is what Cthulhu is. It's what Cthulhu is, dead yet alive in the ocean. So if you encounter Cthulhu, it will be some sort of manifestation, not the actual real Cthulhu probably. So these are kind of like, if you imagine like mental projections almost, if you look at it like that, then that's how you could interact with them in a sense. So they're there for you to use or not to use, basically.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. I really needed that, actually. Anyways, is there anything else you want to say to the audience?
Well, thanks for listening. And if you want to find out more about when some of the books we've been talking about are coming out and going to be released, if you go to chaosium.com, our website, you can join our mailing list. And when new books get announced and we have release dates and so forth, that all comes out on those emails. So if you want to kind of keep up with the information, then just join our mailing list at our chaosium.com website. Or if you're on Facebook, we've got the Call of Cthulhu kind of players community there as well, which is very positive and friendly. There's also BRP Central, which is a forum website. Again, on there are various forums for the different Chaosium games. There's RuneQuest and Pendragon and Call of Cthulhu. And again, you can kind of interface with our community there as well and find players, maybe play online, share ideas, share scenarios, and get advice as well. If you're not sure about how a particular rule does work, you can ask on any of these places and people will be there to help out and lend a hand and give you some good advice. And other than that, you can keep an eye on mine and Keris's kind of social media feeds, whether it's Facebook or Blue Sky or whatever it may be. We're on pretty much all of these kind of things. So again, if you want to kind of keep a tab on what we're doing as well, then feel free to kind of find us on social media too.
I think we're running out of time.
Is there anything you want to say, by the way? Cheers.
Well, thanks for having us. Yeah, it's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, been very nice. Thank you.
All right. So thank you once again for being here with me and giving all of this information for us. And I can say that I'm excitedly waiting for the Keeper's Guide. And for the audience, don't forget to check out Cthulhu by Gaslight, Investigator's Guide. This is the book you want to get and share with your players because it's player-friendly and it has lots of beautiful era-specific information in it. And that's all for now. So see you guys in another video.